Hey, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Whitney.
We started this true crime podcast over a glass of wine and quickly turned from true crime listeners into true crime advocates.
So get comfy, pop a cork, and grab a glass because we have work to do.
This is Cults, Crimes, and Cabernet.
Some content may be unsuitable for sensitive listeners. Discretion is advised.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday and happy 100 days till CrimeCon UK.
I know. So exciting that we leave in 100 days.
I can't believe that we leave in 100 days.
Yeah.
Going across the pond.
Yes. Let's hope everything is okay in the world and we get over there nice and safe. But yes,
Yep.
I am ecstatic.
Same. We did buy travel insurance just in case.
Yes. You just never know in today's
Right?
realm. It's crazy.
Yep. So if you haven't got your tickets, you still can get tickets. Don't forget to use code Cabernet23. It gets you a little bit of a discount. I can't remember the percentage because I'm terrible at that, but it gets you something, and something's better than nothing.
Yeah. Let us know what you get. Send us a quick message.
There you go. Other than that, I'm just going to jump right into my wine.
All right. What do you got?
Because my mom is the best mom ever. She ordered the limited edition Death Row Records red wine from Snoop Dogg.
I love her.
Love her so much. It is really good. I'm excited to have it. My husband tried to steal the bottle already. He's like, "Can I keep this whole bottle?" And I said, "After I drink it, you can have the bottle." But he wants to keep the full bottle on his shelf just because it's really neat with the logo, and I'll post a picture of it. It's awesome.
Oh, that's really cool. I can't wait to see it. Let's get into Michigan.
All right, Michigan. And I promised Jeff I wouldn't do the hand thing this time. Apparently, he says Michiganders don't do that. Show where the city is on the hand, but every person I know from Michigan always does the hand thing. So because he's from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, I think that he's wrong.
Yes. I didn't know about the hand thing until I knew you, but it's interesting. And now I read about it or I hear about it other places and I'm like, oh my God, yes, it's a thing. It really is.
So this week we are heading to the town of Ann Arbor, Michigan. It is the 5th largest city in the state and it's home to just over 123,000 people. It is also where the University of Michigan resides.
Okay, this is where Chris's grandma is from as well, as Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay. This has given Ann Arbor one nickname of America's most famous college town.
Is it famous though?
That's what it's known, the famous college town. I don't know. I think University of Michigan is the Wolverines, and if I don't get that wrong, I'm going to be murdered by all of Jeff's family.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. I know that they're blue and yellow. I can tell you that. Besides the college, there are many quirky characteristics that make up this town. One is that you can find fairy doors all over the town. The first one popped up in 1993 at a residence, and then by 2005, the first public fairy door appeared. Since then, 10 others have been spotted, and it's kind of a fun, quirky thing that when you visit, you keep an eye out for these little fairy doors.
What is a fairy door?
Just a little bitty miniature door that people put on the ground. It doesn't actually do anything. It's just a decoration, kind of like people make fairy gardens.
Yes.
It's similar to that.
So I know like most towns, a lot of towns have where they'll have statues, like, Wichita Falls has the Mustangs or various things. I've seen a whole bunch of different things. So this is essentially that town's thing.
Sort of. Or like people who paint rocks. Have you seen the painted rocks where people find and leave rocks? It's similar to that too. Wichita Falls also had gnomes. Did you know that? There was little gnomes in all of downtown. They're little bitty gnomes painted on like a, 6-inch square piece of wood that they would be on telephone poles or just hidden randomly throughout downtown.
Did not know.
Yeah.
And my husband actually started the Painted Rock Club of Tampa Bay area. So
I can see that would be one of his hobbies.
Yes. pretty, there's a few thousand people in it now.
Oh, nice. Locals have dubbed this town as Tree Town because over 1.5 million trees are thriving in the greater area.
I can get on board with Tree Town.
Yeah. This last fun fact is just for me. It's really very Whitney. A Harry Potter musical was created and performed at the university, and it would become the internet's largest musical.
Holy moly. This town does have some stuff happening. I love it.
As far as crime goes, Ann Arbor has some relatively calm crime statistics. It's safer than 21% of other towns with the same demographic, and the chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime is 1 in 292, which seems kind of high, but compared to other towns we've done, it's really not that bad.
Yes, I agree.
Now, the property crimes are a little bit different story. You have a much higher chance of becoming a victim at 1 in 59.
Oh, wow.
Theft is a major problem within the city limits of Ann Arbor. Like many big cities, Ann Arbor has a large amount of suburbs surrounding the outskirts. One of those is another college town of Ypsilanti. This is where 22-year-old Renee Welka attended Eastern Michigan University. It was the summer before her senior year, and the spunky young woman was working her way through the break as a waitress at a restaurant called Mountain Jack's there in Ann Arbor. Ypsilanti is less than 7 miles away from downtown Ann Arbor, so it's all very, very close-knit and kind of tucked in there together. Renee was an ambitious worker as she was putting herself through school and was just that 1 year away from attaining her marketing degree. Her mother said she had one of those attractive personalities that drew people in, especially children, and that she loved to shop and water ski. July 29th, 1994 should have been a regular day for Renee. She was scheduled to work the dinner shift at Mountain Jack's that Friday evening, and after her shift, she went home for a couple of hours before meeting up with a friend, and they went out for the evening. Around 2 a.m., they pulled into the parking lot of Renee's apartment at Glencoe Hills apartment complex in her white Ford Escort. Before Renee could even put her car in park, a male walked up to the driver's side window and shot through the back windshield towards the driver with a small caliber handgun. The bullet struck Renee in the back, and her fight or flight instinct kicked in. She mashed the gas pedal in an attempt to evade the attacker, but unfortunately she would only make it about 300 yards before she lost consciousness, not even leaving the parking lot. Her attacker fled the scene on foot, and police received a report of gunshots and arrived on the scene within just a few minutes. Renee was able to be taken by ambulance to St. John's Mercy Hospital, but she would succumb to her injuries around 3 a.m. As with many crime scenes, this created quite a stir in the neighborhood. Many people began to gather around, and while giving her statement, Renee's friend that was the passenger noticed one bystander that seemed to stand out. She told police that she was positive that the one black male in the crowd was the one that shot her friend.
Holy crap.
Police immediately arrested the 18-year-old Clarence Powell II. Powell lived in the same complex as Renee, but they didn't really know each other. And he told police that he had heard the gunshot and came outside to investigate, but that he was innocent, and he maintains his innocence throughout this entire process. These claims went unheard, and he was arraigned the very next afternoon on one charge of open murder and one charge of committing a felony while in possession of a firearm.
And all they have is the passenger witness statement against him currently.
There is a few other eyewitness statements, but they didn't point him out specifically.
Okay.
I know what you're thinking. Whitney, I thought y'all only did unsolved cases. This one seems wrapped up with a bow. Well, we're not done yet.
Yes. Yeah. I knew you'd be getting to it. Something has to be happening.
Clarence Powell was an ambitious teen who had plans of attending college in the fall. He was the captain of the basketball team, a Boy Scout, and had a clean record.
Okay. Yeah, to just start committing murder. That seems a stretch.
They did swab Clarence's hands and did find gunshot residue on his hands.
Okay. This is not looking good for Clarence.
He was not granted a bond and was held for 2 weeks. Powell's preliminary examination took place on August 11th, 1994, and lasted less than 5 minutes. His case would be dismissed due to lack of evidence. Most of the evidence they had on Powell was circumstantial at best due to only being eyewitness statements. And was the friend's accusation credible, as it was immediately after it had happened? She was noticeably shaken up. It could have easily been an adrenaline-based decision that she made.
Yes, I agree. However, people have been convicted on one person's eyewitness statement. As what you told me so far, I'm very happy that he did not get charged completely with it.
His attorney was quoted as saying that Powell was, quote, in his home eating grapes and watching television. His defense was that this was a case of mistaken identity, and that a friend of Powell's even said he was on the phone with him at the time of the shooting. Whether any of this was checked out, I can't be for certain because there's no documentation of it out there.
I'm sorry, if you're eating grapes, you're a good guy.
In the 12 days Powell was detained, the community stood behind his innocence. A rally was even held for him. This became what I would consider a race situation. I think there was a lot of discussions of she pointed him out because he was a black male, or the first black male she saw in the crowd. He was eventually released, and after, statements from the police came out stating that they were still awaiting ballistics results and that gunshot residue was found on Powell's hands at the time of the murder. Renee's mother stated that she believed it was the same type of gunpowder that was used with the gun, but I'm not quite sure how she determined that or what information she was given. I think she was just kind of confused with the...
Is that even a thing? Are you able to tell the type of gunpowder?
I mean, I would assume you could get some sort of chemical breakdown, but I don't know that that's a definitive science that they would use, because gunpowder is gunpowder.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it is sus that he had gunpowder residue on his hands. That is sus. I mean, I find that obviously more credible than the eyewitness.
And I couldn't find what type of gun they recovered from him, if there was a gun, but for them to be waiting ballistics results, there has to be a gun somewhere.
Yes.
You can't do ballistics testing without a gun.
Yeah. Was this his gun and he had, they did a search warrant? That is definitely the question. Because then they should be able to be like, hey, this gun that's his is the one that shot her. But
remember, this is 1994 and there's only about 5 news articles out there in the newspaper about this. So maybe it was a misspoken quote from a police officer as well, that maybe he said ballistics results were incoming and it wasn't actually ballistics. Maybe he meant there was some other form of evidence that they were testing. Take that as you will. It could be misconstrued somehow in the media. There's not a lot out there on Renee's case.
Yeah, surprisingly, that does happen even from newspapers way back years and years ago. You'll find one on a Tuesday that says one thing, and then by Friday, more information is released that clarifies that past thing. So yeah, it's understandable. Media does not always get it right. The law enforcement does not always get it right either.
Exactly. Since this test in 1994, there have been no further leads in Renee's story. Her parents wonder every single day if this man was indeed the murderer of her daughter, or if it truly was a case of misidentification.
And she had no enemies. There was nobody else that was close to her that seemed like a person of interest, because why would they? It almost seems targeted, correct?
Unless it was supposed to be some sort of carjacking gone wrong.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Renee was the second woman murdered within a 3-month time frame in that Pittsfield Township area of Ann Arbor. Police did not believe the two were connected, as the first had a motive of robbery. So, like I said before, could this have been an attempted carjacking? Was the assailant hoping to rob her?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they could rule that out. It just kind of like, you just never know when things like take a turn and your original motive gets kind of haywire.
6 years after Renee's murder, her family offered a $10,000 reward for information leading to a conviction. This reward is still active. This reward is still on the table almost 29 years later, from what I could tell. In 2000, a task force in Michigan was created to help investigate cold cases and unsolved homicides. The most recent update in Renee's story is that in 2004, an investigator was quoted as saying that they had new pieces of information that were being cultivated, but no announcements since have been made. So whether those pieces of information panned out, I'm going to assume not.
And that was in 2004?
Correct.
That's when I graduated high school. It's been a long time since then.
Yes. And not a single story has been posted since then.
Oh my gosh. These ones, like no other, frustrate me.
Renee's father passed away in 2013, never knowing who killed his daughter, and her mother has battled with mental health ever since Renee was killed. She was included on a show, I believe it's on TLC, the Hoarders show. Her mental stability has deteriorated to where she's clinging to items because she's lost her daughter.
Oh my God. First of all, I love Hoarders with a flippin' passion. You know me and reality TV. Second of all, oh my God, that is horrible. I'm going to go find that episode now. Oh, that sucks. I hate it when the parents die before they know what happened.
Law enforcement is asking for any information you may have to be sent to the Pittsfield Township Police Department at 734-944-4911. And that's it. That's the case for Michigan. It breaks my heart that in almost 30 years that there's been not a single thing.
Yeah. There's nothing if she had a boyfriend, any altercations at work with rowdy customers. Like, it has to be something.
They did not mention in any of the research that I could find anything like that. Like, did a guy hit on her and her friend at the bar and she turned them down and he followed them? Nothing.
Dang.
Yeah.
I just looked up that Mountain Jack's place. It's been open for quite a while. I mean, obviously it's been a while since she worked there. So, yeah. These cases like this just frustrate me.
Yep.
So let's see what we can do about getting some tips and maybe renewed attention on this case.
Absolutely. Because even though her father's gone, her mother still deserves an answer.
Exactly. Yes. And that poor friend as well. Like,
absolutely. I can't imagine seeing that and being the only source of information too.
Yes. And what if she was right? What if Clarence was the guy?
Just by listening to our content, you too are advocating for justice for these families. Thank you for making a difference in their lives as well.
We want to share a few ways you can support us to continue our mission. You can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $1 per month, or a simple rate and review on your favorite podcast platform helps us get in front of someone who may know something.
We will continue traveling state by state, seeking justice, because we will be there, no matter where,
no matter who.